When we think about everything that goes on in the workplace, and I'm doing this on December 23rd, a day before my birthday, I'm thinking, holiday season, I finally get a break. I've been grinding pretty hard for many, many years. And something hit me this morning. A good friend of mine who used to work at the company, used to coach volleyball with me, sent me a notice of a women's player on the Wisconsin Badger women team leaving the university and entering the portal, the NIL. Because now college kids are actually getting recruited through money to go to other schools. And a lot of times, I use youth sports as a teaching tool when I'm working with adults, and people say, oh, but it's different. No, it's not. When you have a kid who's a pretty good player in sixth, seventh, eighth grade, and all of a sudden other kids get bigger and stronger, and the parents see, uh-oh, my kid's not the best one. I got to go talk to the coach. What happens in the workplace? You can't go talk to your kid's manager. Oh, by the way, that happens. By the way, I have a family member who said, oh, yeah, I've had parents come into post-college job interviews. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Mike Bibby, a former NBA player, now coaches college, was telling some ex-NBA players who have a podcast, and I saw the podcast, and they said one of the first recruiting questions he gets from kids is, how much money can you give me? So how does that translate to the workplace? Think about it. I don't like the feedback you gave me. I'm going to quit. I'm going to go to HR. I'm going to go tell my 5 coworkers. Or if I'm not getting paid enough money, I'll go somewhere else where there's more money. What about the mission of the organization? What about the people that recruited you and hired you and invested in you? One of the greatest jobs I ever had, and I turned 62 tomorrow, and it was over 41 years ago, was IBM. I was never late. I couldn't wait to go to work because the mission was in the customer center where I worked for people like Jerry Veit and Martha Sheffield and, all the great people that work there and the friends I've even maintained till this day. It was always about the customer. Always. Our focus every day was the customer happy. I think that's carried over to what I do now. I think my clients would say, oh yeah, Tim's pretty helpful. But it's amazing to me the behaviors and the habits and the experience that shape us in our youth will shape us in the workplace. Chris Collins, who coaches at Northwestern University, former Duke player, and his dad played in the NBA, coached in the NBA, has one of the greatest recruiting strategies. Now they're all doing it. He said, I sit in the stands and I look for the parent that yells the most. That's the kid I don't want. I want the kid who's at the end of the bench cheering. Gino Ariamo, I'm probably not saying the name correctly, the UConn coach goes, recruiting's gotten harder and harder. He goes, I look for kids who are enthusiastic. I look for kids who are looking for the we, not the me. It's getting harder. And so often, and I will tell you, I've left 4 meetings in the last 2 weeks, end of the year meetings. What do we need to focus on? How do we maintain motivation of our team members? How do we maintain enthusiasm? And you know what some of the comments are getting is, well, this is hard. It's not really what I want to do. You took the job. What world do you live in? There is an expectation. Do the expectation. I can't look at my clients and say, I don't feel like doing a cohort today. I'm tired. Now, I sound sarcastic. I am being sarcastic. This is nuts. I was at a volleyball match this year, and a woman turned to me and said, you're sitting in the parent section. We're at an open tournament. There is no parent section. Oh, by the way, I was sitting there 30 minutes before she was, and she was on my left, and I turned to my right to my wife and another coach, and we were talking about the coach where my ex-high school team was playing. And she tapped me on the shoulder. She goes, you're sitting with the parents. I go, okay. Never mentioned a kid, never criticized the play, never criticized the coach, who's a very good friend of mine. And she said, well, you're just being negative. I said, that's okay. That might be your perception. I wasn't talking to you. She goes, well, I think you just need to stop. I just ignored her. I didn't get out of the parking lot and I get a text from the coach. Heard you met one of our parents. And we had a good laugh about it. I go, what is going on? He goes, I don't know. I go, Damien, I was not being negative. And he goes, Tim, you're analyzing the match. It's what we do as coaches. And it's interesting. what she was struggling with, oh, by the way, her kid wasn't playing well. And I said, well, whose parent is it? And he tells me, I go, oh, now I get it. So I gotta deflect. I gotta take it out on somebody. What happened to team loyalty? What happened to the mission of our organization? When I was at IBM, we were not allowed, and I mean literally, we were not allowed to have an opinion of upper level management. We were not allowed to have an opinion, at least not one that was verbalized out loud. And one of the guys that mentored me and helped shape my career, Jerry Veit, took a chance on me in college, didn't need to, didn't have to. He said, always remember, when you're talking up and you're talking about someone above you, that goes in multiple directions. And when you hear that, those are the people that hear you complaining. Those are the people that may or may not hire you someday. I'll never forget it. It's one of the best lessons. Now, if I made the mistake, sure, I'm human. I've made the mistake. We've all made the mistake. Let's get back to this is the mission of our credit union. This is the mission of our organization. This is the mission of our manufacturing firm. How does that sit with you? So what happens when you have a struggle and I need to give you feedback? Do you embrace it? And how do you embrace it? I think we need to get tougher in our interviews. You want to join my company? You better bring it. I don't know if that's possible, everybody. I would love your thoughts. But when kids are leaving colleges where they're making NCAA runs and having fun with their teammates because they can get money, and I get it, college is expensive. I get it. But really? It's that quick to just dismiss relationships? That person is cultivating the breaking and the starting and the breaking and the starting and the breaking of relationships. What do you think is going to happen in the workplace? What are your thoughts?